That's a good idea. Let me actually do
Yeah.
that. I
I think
can do that.
everyone's, yeah. Well, it's noon Eastern Standard Time,
Yeah.
and so I'm trying to watch my, yes. Okay, my cell phone says we're live. I can hear my voice, so I'm going to mute it. Cool.
Hello, our viewers.
Yes. What was kind of neat with this, so this is the second time that I did one as a play round, and then I did an official one once, where we said, I think we were almost 2 hours live. It was with two other YouTubers. So I'm still learning the lay of the application and learning how to do this. So for anyone that's joining us at this point, thank you for coming out. Thanks for watching us, especially if you're on live. I need to click one more button to show our chats. There we go. So we'll have to remind ourselves, guys, to look over to the chat bar every once in a while. Nano Quado Safo is excited also, Matthias. So as those chats come in, those are there. If you have questions, we're kind of going to talk about what's out here. Matthias and Victor are going to talk to us about what they have in store, and then we'll do a Q&A and we'll work through that. So I think what we'll do is I'm going to click one button here to bring up win-win resolution as the Fund 6. And I will give the floor to Matthias and let you kind of lead us down the road. But welcome, everybody. Really appreciate it. Uh-oh. Are we starting anytime soon?
Yeah, thank you for the platform here. Nana, by the way, is also one of our team members, so thank you for the loyalty. So with win-win dispute resolution, this is essentially the great proposal that started it all. We have a couple of other proposals in Fund 6 that are highly related, and then also some other ideas that are not tightly related to this. But essentially what we're trying to do is to fix the ADR space with Cardano. ADR stands for Alternative Dispute Resolution, so think of mediation, arbitration, etc. And this came essentially from our various backgrounds. So it started with me here. I'm a software engineer for over 20 years. I've been involved in Cardano in one way or another since 2017. And one of the other things that I do is I am getting my master's in dispute resolution. So I have a BA in negotiation, conflict resolution, and peace building. I've been a mediator, community facilitator, also peacekeeper. And so I see the side of conflict and how it can be solved outside the court, which is often a lot more equitable and fair. So I became to really be an advocate for mediation. And unfortunately, the system is quite broken. A lot of people, first of all, do not know that there are other ways of settling your disputes outside the court. And there's a couple of problems that we identified, and quite naturally we found a solution in Cardano. That's the overall gist of things.
Okay, so this is what's kind of interesting to me. Why I'm really intrigued by this, and I've experienced mediation through my personal life and my work life, where we have labor disputes between union and management. We have to sit, and it's hard. There's a lot of people that have that. Now, one of the challenges that I see with your group, and what, like, the very first question that I'd say, hey, this is a hurdle that has to be jumped over. Cardano is global. Everything that I've ever professionally dealt with outside of the court system has been local. You know, it's already agreed upon parties. We've already had a trusted mediator designated, but it's within the borders, not only of the country.
I think we might have lost Ken. That is interesting, our host. Are we still streaming? How does this work? Is this centralized?
looks like.
All
I
right.
think he might be back in a few seconds.
Yeah, let's
Not sure
give
he's
him
Thing that
some.
you guys have.
Oh, let me.
I'm trying. If you can hear me right now, Victor, if you go ahead and start talking.
There we are.
Hey, can,
Excellent.
can you hear me now?
How do we say it with Door? Things will break. Things with each
Easily break.
iteration. So we're on iteration 2 now. That's what
Well,
we do in Project Catalyst, right?
welcome
I
to
don't
the
know what
experiment.
happened. Yes, there it is. Okay. So I think I asked the most compelling, intriguing question that could be asked, and you were just getting cut off to answer. So if you recall the question, it was along the lines of how are you going to cross borders and resolve conflicts globally?
That's a great question. I think you were calling out Victor a moment ago, and maybe he can talk about the in terms of teamwork, and then I'll probably take on the legal side of things.
Okay.
Yes, I think this is interesting because the team has a very diverse background, as Matthias mentioned. We have some people who, at the beginning, had little idea about what mediation was actually. So it's good because we are learning inside the group with each other, and at the same time, we have some people who are deeply involved in Catalyst and Cardano, some Plutus pioneers, some people with developer background, but not necessarily with blockchain. So I think this project is actually a great experience to learn by doing things, and that's what we are doing here.
Yeah, absolutely. And to me, it's really fascinating because, as Victor said, we have people from very diverse backgrounds, also time zones, right? So talking to the global aspect. While this phase of win-win is primarily concentrated on the US legal system, specifically in California, because that's where I'm based. And this is the state where we already have commitments from the supplier side to certify mediators and then mediators to be onboarded onto the platform because it is essentially a marketplace. That is one aspect. But Nana, one of our viewers right now, and also valued team members, he's part of WADA, right, the West African Decentralized Alliance, which is also very prominent in Project Catalyst. Everybody knows them. He always asks the question, okay, what about Africa? What about Ghana? Right? So the focus right now is on the US market, but we are thinking, and by US market, I also mean, okay, well, it's going to be a US market, but we also have, of course, multilingual support because, we know there's no such thing as an official language on a federal level, right? But we start with English, we're going to be jump into Spanish, right? But again, for the US market, expand to North America, and then ultimately we want to go worldwide. However, one of the things that we found is, well, first of all, we're building a marketplace, right? And while we want to build this decentralized application, win-win dispute resolution, ultimately what we want to enable others to build other marketplaces, whether that be a mediation, arbitration, some other form of dispute resolution tool, essentially, on top of our extensible base layer, or a total different marketplace. So yesterday, for example, a company reached out to me for a lead software engineering job. They're building a marketplace around psychiatrists, so in the mental health sector. And I told them, it's like, oh, funny timing, because I'm essentially building this just for mediators and on Cardano. And so the need for marketplaces is ubiquitous. I've built marketplaces in the past as a CTO of a company, and so while building this step, we essentially want to provide a base layer. We're not exactly sure if that's going to be an API, an SDK, or just a Plutus library, or a combination of all of those things that other people can utilize to build their own marketplaces. And ultimately, if you think about the marketplace, it's just connecting people, right? So that doesn't have to be like transactional. There doesn't have to be always like ADA or whatever token you want to mint moved around. Sometimes it's just a connecting piece to build something better. Essentially what we're doing with Catalyst as well, because as Victor said, we have people from various backgrounds, right? We have developers that have no blockchain experience yet. We have mediators. We have other legal experts. We have people that are very involved in the Cardano community. And all of those pieces come together to build something that essentially makes the world a better place for everybody. So that is kind of the goal behind all of this.
Okay. So, and it sounds fantastic to me because I actually have been involved in part of a, if you will, mediation for some type of resolution within the Cardano space, but it's really hard. And I've had a chance to look through, it looks like you have built your answer. You've worked on the how so far, and I'm still learning the why and what are you doing. So that's great to start with that marketplace, because if you caught recent videos of mine, I just learned about the NFT marketplace, and I'm starting to kind of experiment and delve into that. And it's like, great, I have it. Now what do I do with that? So if that is a problem, what do you do with that? I can't go down the street in my house and try and find, it's bad enough trying to find a lawyer for anything to do with personal problems. How do you find one that actually knows about blockchain on top of Cardano, on top of Project Catalyst? Like, it's such a niche thing that you and your team are solving the how. And I just want to support you in that way, because one, it's okay, what does that marketplace look like for mediators, and what does it look like? Hopefully you guys have some friends and you can find a marketplace. The social side of that is fantastic. Maybe there's one in the future for tax implications, but so I think a few of the other pieces of it is designating your mediators, determining who actually is a legitimate person. So I think you have it called as skill certification and proof of identity, which are both factors and variables. And I'll let you kind of go into that, but I want to know who are those people that are going to be in your marketplace? Because if I just sign up, I'm your user, right? I'm the end user. I'm that user experience. How do I do that? But give me a little bit of how you find a person to be in that cadre on the other side of the fence that I'm working with.
Yeah, great question.
Cool.
And that's a blind spot to some extent, because for me it's so obvious, right? Because I'm in that space, and so all of these proposals are still very heavily edited. But me as a new mediator, right? The question was, how do you find work, right? And now I'm getting told, okay, you have to sign up for all of these mediation associations, right? And they essentially list you on their directory. So I would be waiting for people to find out about mediation, right? Then go to that mediation association where I might be listed, and then go down the list and for the parties to call me up or send me an email. Highly inefficient place, because also the parties have to agree on a mediator in the first place. So the whole system is very broken. It's very old school. It's not working. It's not worth it. And especially new mediators will have little to no success with that method, because there's also a little bit of word of mouth. But that is another problem, because in the white paper, right, one of the problems that we identified is that ethical mediators essentially don't have work to do. And I compared it kind of like with the DevOps of software engineering, right? So in my view, and people will disagree with it, and the industry will yell at me, how can you say that? But in my view, DevOps is not there to keep the lights on. For me, there's no such thing as a full-time DevOps engineer, because if you're good at your job, You set up things once. Maybe there's some education that, knowledge sharing that you pass down essentially to the software engineers that build the services that need to run. And that's it. Move on to the next client, right? And something like that in mediation can occur as well. Now, there's different types of mediation. I'm particularly biased towards the transformative style of mediation that not only works on the helping the parties solve their problems, their acute problems, but also it is relationship repairing, because something in the dispute always affects the relationship. And it's for the mediator to see the other perspective, what is important to them, their interests, not just in the case, but how they tick. And so by building this understanding of each other, now the disputing parties are much better set up to dealing with each other in the future, right? So your job as a mediator, in a very naive way, essentially, but is essentially done. That's the theory behind it, right? And what's happening is that newer mediators that are often, but not always, younger, are a little bit more tech savvy, right? They are present on social media, right? And the problem is that in the Western view of mediation, you essentially do not want to have a relationship with the parties. You don't want to know them beforehand, right? So you can be totally neutral, as unbiased as possible. But if you shout out, okay, look at this content, this is mediation, you're educating people about mediation, you give examples, right? And potential clients like your stuff, engage with you, you ask for comments, all of that. You know that better than me, how that works, right? You build a relationship. But that's counter to the idea of being a neutral in the mediation. And what we will be doing with the marketplace is essentially channel the cases that are appropriate to any given mediator. Ultimately, parties can decide. We have UX built out for that already that just needs to be implemented. But to get that part rolling is we have a commitment from a university that has certification programs. I got my BA from that university. I should have gotten my master's from them as well, but they're not as prestigious. And I have the commitment to certify, that they certify graduates and alumni that they seem fit as a mediator, right? So this is the skill certification part that you put up on the screen right now. And that is going to be expanded to other universities as well. We have also a soft commitment from a university in Georgia. So that's essentially how we approach the supply side of things. Now, for mediator, the interest is, I don't want to do this social media stuff. This is time consuming, right? Creating content is time consuming. I mean, you know that better than anybody else on this call. So it is really in the mediator's interest to just be on the platform and fill out some basic information so we can use our algorithms that are closer to just graph theory and just channel essentially cases that are suitable to the mediators. So that's that side of thing.
Okay. So I'm hearing it as that skill certification form. If I'm going to, as a user, I'm trying to kind of put this in my own context of how am I going to use the product. You're utilizing Project Catalyst's funds, or asking to. So if you haven't already, anybody that's watching this now or later, go through these proposals, review them, understand that at this moment they're very thin, and we'll walk you through where the meat is at. It's in their GitHub page, which I'll go back to the other. We'll talk through that in a second, but soon and before it's complete, Idea Scale will be full of all the details. So engage with the team, ask the questions, help them grow with this, because I believe this is going to be a tool that will help out a lot of people, but I have to understand how. Not as much how, that's your job, right? That's why we're voting for you. That's why we're asking Project Catalyst to use treasury funds, put it in your pocket, and solve the how, but the what is for me. As a recent Fund 5 cohort now, I have a team of 2, and we don't have smart contracts, and we're waiting for that first deployment of funds, and all of that's going to go into my one wallet. And I have a verbal over the phone conversation agreement with my marketer that I'm going to deliver X number of ADA to him at this point, and we're good with that. And Cardano is a trust-based community. There's a lot of information for that. But if I were to put in my Fund 7 proposal that we're going to use winwin.com or whatever your platform is as the agreed upon mediator for conflict resolution within our team, that should be more appealing to the voters to understand that we've thought through that process as well. And if I know that your marketplace exists and that's what we designate and agree upon, and you have a part of your how is the skill certification. So whoever's on that list of mediators that's available, you're going to have to prove out to me or through this known thing that they know what cryptocurrency is and blockchain and Cardano. So you'll have that, not just a checklist that here's my certificate from company A that I'm a mediator. We don't want to spend time teaching them blockchain technology or how the distribution in Project Catalyst works. And so like there's a lot of time that's spent because this isn't going to be a free service, right? If I hire you as a mediator, how do we do that? So that may lead into one of your other relevant projects. If that question does, I don't know. If not, that might be one of the comments I would add at this point in your idea scale. So I'll hand the floor back over, but that's the question for me is, if I designate your end result, mediation, corporation, company, DAO, however you build that, how do I pay you? How do we do that? So.
Yeah, great question. So initially for the MVP, it's just going to be ADA, right? So for I might have been a little bit overly optimistic, so Victor will tell me if it's possible. So planned Q1 of next year to have fiat gateways, payment gateways. But initially, in fact, yes, it is going to be a smaller scope. It is going to serve more crypto enthusiasts, I would say, or early adopters. I'm not sure if we're at that point even. It's very, very early. So that is one aspect. One thing that struck me just now is that the question of subject matter expertise, right? I agree if it's important for the parties that a mediator has subject matter expertise, that, in your case, knowing about Catalyst, blockchain technology, cryptocurrencies, monetary policies, etc. If that is a requirement, it can be listed as such in the parties. However, I think people overestimate the importance of subject matter expertise for a mediator. Arbitration is a total different story. Yes, for an arbitrator, needs to have subject matter expertise. If not, sometimes you might actually be better part of the litigation process, because arbitration sometimes is not that great if you have an arbitrator that does not know what he, she, or they are doing. But for mediation, the main point is really that unlike litigation, there's no winner loser, right? The idea is that both parties win, or multiple parties. It can be multiple parties, right? And the mediator is essentially the job of a mediator is just to facilitate communication, that the parties can come up with a solution. It's fine for a mediator, not often, not always, but to not understand the technical details, because guess what? You can ask questions, right? And if it's indeed like a specific clause in a contract, for example, that just needs interpretation, then arbitration might be the better tool, which also will come next year, right? So we're really trying to cover all of ADR, but there's some other things that we have to do. So in mediation, a lot of conflicts can actually be solved by the help or with the help of a mediator that has no subject matter expertise, because the underlying problems are actually usually not the like fine print in a contract. It's usually something else at play.
I had to wait for a combine to finish driving by the house for bring the audio back. No, I appreciate that. And I just put a note out in the comments. It looks like we have 4 people watching now. So some unique viewer out there is watching. So thank you for joining us. Nana, if you're still on with us, feel free to throw a line in there and share with us. And the appeal to this and understanding, like, you and I have had a conversation already about this whole suite of package ideas, thoughts, and where we're at with it. So my understanding, though, is that you have almost almost 2 dozen. You're like have 20 people that are attached to this project in some way, shape, or form. So whether this is where cutting and editing and going live is different. I might have asked this question and dropped it right in the beginning as the attention grab for everybody. But if you feel comfortable with, share that, because while you did say this is utilizing the model that's built in the United States right now and expanding to the Americas, because we're represented on two coasts of North America and 1 coast of South America on this call. And I can't imagine, I don't know where Nana is living at right now or present at, but if he's always asking that question, it made me ask the question I think in my head when he said Georgia, are we talking country or state? And where's the closest Cardano tree to that one? Because those are fun. So I want to ask you that question. Like, if you would take a moment and just kind of run us through your roster, your team's roster, because that's the pause and cut and start.
I feel like Victor should introduce himself, but I know Victor is so humble. But essentially, I made a joke yesterday in our Discord server, because what you see here is 86% of the approval of the, the Catalyst Circle, right? So Victor has the seat for the community advisors in the Catalyst Circle, right? And I was the runner-up, and combined we have 86% of all the votes. I got like barely 19% or something like that, and then you can... So Victor has a lot of support. So I would like for Victor to speak a moment about himself and some of our team members.
Nice, thanks. So my name is Victor. My background is in engineering and energy. I actually I have a day job. I work with oil and gas, but I'm involved with Cardano and blockchain, I think now for almost a year. Like really doing things. I've been investing for 3 or 4 years now. And as Matthias mentioned, I'm participating in the Catalyst Circle today, and this was the result of my involvement with the Catalyst project during the last several months. And we met during the election process of Catalyst Circle. And I was elected there, but I was always talking to Matthias so we could work together and make things when I had to leave or something like that. And I saw that he was recruiting for this project, and I'm not sure how I was not sure how I could help him with this, but then I realized that I already had a bit of project management skills, so I talked to him, and he wanted me on board, and I am now in this role in the project, and I'm sharing this role with Nana, who is here in the chat. So we are both working with project management for win-win. And to present the dev team, I think Matthias will do a better job than me.
Yeah, thank you for that. So project and product management, right? We have Victor, who is in Brazil, and Nana, who is located in Ghana. Some of the other members of the team. So for example, one of Well, it's been like 3 weeks now since Emma Enriquez joined us, and Emma reached out to me because one of the things that I do is Saturdays, usually not at this time, but Saturdays, I teach in a boot camp that is primarily targeted to adults that are either mid-career or just starting out a career, but also it is targeted at people of lower socioeconomic status. One of my co-workers at my day job for the last year and a half almost, Eli, is teaching right now. So that's why he cannot be with us. But he has a background not only in social work, he's a licensed social worker. He has a master's in computer science with a focus on machine learning. So he's a machine learning architect. He has a BA in psychology. And like I said, I've worked with Eli for a little over a year now. Eli is just like myself, a part of the Gimbal Labs Pluto's project-based learning team, which just launched on Wednesday. So part of the funds, and you see it in the budget breakdown for Win-Win, essentially some of our engineers are partially paid by Gimbal Labs because there's a lot of alignment there as well, right? So we went through Pluto's Pioneer program, and now essentially create content for our own needs, but then also teach the community, okay, this is how it's actually done. This is how you use an NFT, for example, for authentication purposes. So that's Eli. We have Ryan Kirsch, who has been in finance for over 10 years. He's a full stack developer. Ganesh, who has also a very strong computer science background, who's in India. He's part of the Pluto's project-based learning team as well. We have Emma Enriquez, for example. So she is a fairly new developer, but she has an impressive legal background. She has a JD. She practices law as an attorney. She has hired mediators. She has been facilitating mediations, hundreds of mediations, in fact. So we have, she's essentially the unicorn in our team because she really touches all aspects as well, quite extensively. Then we have David Bradley, who when we hired him, at the company that Eli and I work at, he just came fresh out of a boot camp. He has shown tremendous growth. He would be also a great mentor to some of our even more junior developers because he's essentially a mid-level software engineer right now with a focus on front end. We have Daria, who is a newer developer who has a background in speech pathology. The list goes on and on. We have we're really privileged and blessed, if I can use that word, with a lot of talent who are very dedicated. And then even people who are not officially part of the team are still rooting for us. I mentioned Georgia as a potential, the state in the US, as a potential to expand our program there because we talked to one of the leading ombuds persons there. So it's really a strong team, and I think that in itself made us blaze through phase 1 of the Cardstarter hackathon that we are a part of as well. Right, so we're on phase 2. People are still reading our white papers. I got some initial good feedback from one of the judges, and so that's the other avenue. Yeah, the team is
That's
great.
Awesome. So you have a fantastic team of people everywhere from multinational to diverse skill set. And knowing that you have such influence with the people around Project Catalyst and that already know you well enough, but do we know that the voters know who you are yet? So this will be a great video to maybe attach it to the thing. If you guys want, we can do some sort of shorter snip version of a, an elevator pitch, if you will. But you hinted at CardStarter, right? And being in that hackathon to help really push this forward. We talked yesterday. You mentioned MLabs and some other community support. Do you want to touch on that at all?
Yeah, so one of the other things that I do, I'm interning currently at MLabs, right? So MLabs is a consultancy. They are based in the UK. Ben Hart, the CTO, also co-partner, he's on the East Coast in the US. One of the judges of the CardStarter hackathon, which of course I identified there's a potential conflict of interest because I am working at MLabs in the capacity that I can at this time. So there's some smaller refactoring that I did on the Liquid project, right? So, and that can be easily verified as well. I think I have a link somewhere. It's going to be on the team site. Cool. So yeah, that is MLabs. Yeah, the CardStarter hackathon is interesting because it was really more of a catalyst. Because realistically, I think we are a terrible fit. Because CardStarter is essentially an investment bank with some extra rules. And the extra rules would be in the favor if we were to mint like some random token, right?
Okay.
And that is not our goal. I think our goal is actually a lot closer aligned with the Cardano Foundation. Just use ADA for transactions. We want those transactions on Cardano, on the blockchain.
Yes. Yep.
So that's I think the reason why we probably will not get any prize money from. Plus the right now the other thing is also we still need to figure out the whole business organization stuff. It looks like we will be a C Corp, but Emma, again, with her legal background, she looks into some other things that have been happening in the Ethereum space with DAOs and whatnot. But it might be that we just go the traditional C Corp route, not because we want to have a big, gigantic exit, because this is a project that I think hopefully will last and for decades to come, at least.
So one note that I took, you mentioned that I think it was David Bradley, fresh out of boot camp. Is that a military boot camp or is that a DevOps boot camp?
That was DevOps boot camp.
DevOps. Okay. All right. There's so much for me to learn, and I'm trying to place myself in the terminology as well. So I appreciate both of you being here and sharing with me this development and understanding. I mean, it's amazing to me how many candle ends I have, because that phrase of burning a candle at both ends, we all have professional careers, and we are creating businesses on top of Cardano or making action and doing the things that we are doing to learn. And who knows what each other's individual personal goals are and how much bandwidth we have for all of this. But I do know that I don't pay attention to sporting events anymore because this is more important than that. My children are coming home soon, and that's going to be my primary focus for the afternoon. But this is where it's like, why am I learning about all this? Well, because I truly believe that blockchain technology is already amongst everybody, and it's part of our life, and I have to understand it much better. If I want to invest in it, this is part of me doing my own research. So that's why I'm here. That's what I do with this. And, it's really funny to see that timeline of how much time do we actually have. So to that end, that's kind of a lead on statement / question. I want to go back to on the win-win dispute resolution. Let's take a moment of education to teach everybody else and see, because all of the proposals are closed. You have a suite of proposals for segmented things, but I'll ask you the first tough question. What if 4 out of 5 or 2 out of 3, is there any linchpin piece that has to be in place for the rest? Because there's strategies and tactics and utilize the funding and making sure, okay, this is designated for that. And I like the way you're doing this, because it helps to me financially make the books and say, okay, this fund portion is for this deliverable, this fund is for that deliverable, and you're not asking for the whole Monty with multiple deliverables. So I would be interested to see or to hear what your thought is on that. We may even just pass by that, except to do the quick teaching piece, which is on win-win. Oh, let me bring the screen up. Things are breaking. Let's show this on the screen. When on win-win dispute resolution, I was a fund fund 6 is coming up. If you have an idea scale login, if you are interested in being a part of any of this growth and development, right now you are qualified to be a CA on September 9th. So this is I'll even do this. I'm going to hide everyone except myself. Oh, maybe not. I can't do it quick yet. Okay, if I hide, there we go. This is a practice pitch. You're going to see a video from me in the next couple of days that comes out. I was a CA in Fund 4, and I was not in Fund 5 because I was a proposal. In Fund 6, I can be a ethical CA again. And as long as I stay out of the category that I'm in, I can do that. So everybody that's been through the proposal process, that it has been a proposal or that is a proposer, you can also be a CA. There are 800 proposals out there. And it's not because one team split it 5 times. It's because those are all individual proposals. So if you're with us right now, 45 minutes into this video, you get to see my first practice pitch. But become a CA. You already are a CA. Do it officially. There's a lot of benefits and look forward to that. So let's be CAs for a second and bring us up and say, okay, what would actually happen? Because this is killing me. When I look at your site, I look at this and I say, win-win despite dispute resolution. And right off the bat, we get right down to the links, which means that you have about 100 words in this one total, and I'm going, where's the meat and potatoes? I need to, okay, maybe if I click this link. But I've gone through that where I've clicked on links and I've seen people that are developing, and it's, for lack of better terms, audacious. I mean, it's just like, wow, okay, you're asking for this much money for what? For what product? What is the, our job is to help protect the treasury and make sure that it goes to something that affects the rest of the community. So what's the community impact? So in yours right now, because this has been fast paced. You went from the hackathon, you picked up 20 people, and you're telling me all this, and we had 45 minutes of good conversation, and you're a professional going for your master's, and I'm pretty sure you have to write like an 87 chapter thesis to get that piece of paper, but 100 words, where are we at? So what does that mean? So let's click on that GitHub, right? And then that takes, I already clicked on it. So that takes us into GitHub. So if you're not a registered user of GitHub, will you be able to click on this link and see?
Yeah.
Okay. And is 20 people enough yet? You guys do need some UI, UX people and devs, right?
Thank you for pointing that out. Absolutely, we need UI and UX. So we have some preliminary UX, but yeah, we do need UX for our applications and everything design. So that would be UI design, that would be even logo design, it would be everything in the broader sense of design, like branding and all of that stuff, corporate identity, even if we go that route. So there's a lot of need on that front.
Like official marketer, even somebody to help all. You guys are focusing on the how they can help push the product and make sure people understand and know that's an option. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And we talked why you're on GitHub is because we all know IdeaScale is not the best solution for pitching products, especially when you have your mind works GitHub way, and especially your developers all have and use, and that's part of what we have, which allows you to build tables and allows you to make a much prettier outlay. And then you're going to have to come up with how do you transpose this back into IdeaScale, because that is the tool we use right now. So yeah, so in GitHub, it's just a click away, right? To get all of okay, here's your summary for your thesis, and this is how you spent your Friday building this and making it available and ready for everybody. So is there anything you want us to know, to look at and work through on this?
Yeah, I think for right now, so GitHub is essentially the source of truth. It will be, of course, looking at a proposal like that, how it looks in idea scale, right? And I'm not exactly sure how to rate that myself, because I've seen great proposals that are just look terrible in long form on idea scale, right? But usually what I've seen is, okay, people would have maybe a PDF attached or external source. It has the same organization, just laid out a little bit differently, right? So I don't have to read everything word by word, because if you did that during like college, for example, you would never finish reading a paper, right? You have to read strategically to get an overview. So then when you read stuff word by word as a CA, you kind of have to do that. Then, you have a better understanding by, figuring out the overall structure. So my work as a CA would actually include often, okay, this idea scale proposal is horrible in a way that it's laid out, but let me look at the PDF, and then I make my assessment based on that. That's probably not everyone. And even for the final solution, essentially, we're going to have like a stripped down version of what you see on GitHub right now in idea scale, with a note on top. Hey, if you want to see this proposal in a little bit nicer format, click here. But essentially, that is going to be all Victor's work, because Victor also has another proposal of himself for Catalyst School in Project Catalyst as well. So I will be heavily relying on Victor here, and he helped out with this quite a lot to address those points.
That's awesome. This is really cool, and I'm watching the development. I think I've been in this now in Cardano. Actually, I'm really close to my 7-month anniversary of being Cardano. So you go, wait, who, I haven't been around, but I think I'm trying to maintain my genuine appeal in that sense, where I say, I don't know. And I'm trying to help people like me learn and do and act and take part in it and be comfortable with that. So, it's hard. Like, people like you've been in this 20 years. Victor's the DevOps. You got people coming out of boot camps and everything, and knowing what a hackathon is prior to understanding that Cardano existed. So how do we cross that bridge, and how do we learn these different pieces? And this is great, because that's a question that I haven't fully asked myself yet. I've pondered on it. I've thought about it when it comes to Project Catalyst, and that's kind of where all of our focus is, because there's a $4 million worth of ADA available coming up in Fund 6. That's not like it was in Fund 1 and Fund 2 and 3. I wasn't there for that, and Fund 4 came up, and you go, man, there's a lot of opportunity, and we need to educate people and have them available, so that once they come on right now, September 12th is kind of going to be a big day for everybody. I don't think we even need to explain why that is, but when that happens and people realize that, oh, okay, this is a reality, now we need to really start focusing. And I'm absolutely sure that's already happening, that people are paying real close, legitimate attention to the Cardano ecosystem, but they're waiting for September 13th. And once they see that it happened in past tense, and now there is no more when smart contracts, they're going to go, time to jump in. And Fund 8 is probably going to be nuts. Where when we went from 260 to 280 from Fund 4 to Fund 5, and now there's 800 proposals, that's clear evidence to me that there's already people that are here. And have my fingers in all these proposals, and now doing the research right now for this set of 5 to 6 proposals, and understanding that this isn't ghost chain-ish. This is real life affecting change. Going to be, you asked yourself, you mentioned earlier, how do I sign up and build an association and hope somebody calls on my number? You are actually building that which doesn't exist. If you want change, you have to be the change you want to see, right? So my hat's off to your whole team, Victor, everybody that's pulling together to make this happen. You have a skill set, and you are marketing yourself in that way, and it's for the benefit of the entire community. So huge. This is absolutely awesome to see how this is laid out. I really do appreciate your time. I'm kind of getting to that wrap up piece. So hopefully if you guys have any other really high level things that you want to talk through or call out, I've reduced our AMA period because there's 4 people watching. We're trying to trick the algorithm, and I think all 3 of us are 3 of those people, and I think Janella's the other one logged on, so we'll see. I think Nana's watching, so so this is the fun part. Like, how do we get more viewers? It's what happens in the past tense, right? Once you guys link this and you say, hey, if you really want to hear us explain it to this idiot Kenny over here, here's the layout. And this is growth. Like, this is day 1-ish. You guys have been at this for a month, you said, and that's awesome. I look forward to seeing how this plays out.
Yeah, me too. I'm super excited, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to spend some good time here with you. And I'm sure we'll look fond on these kind of conversations, with like smaller viewers. And now, because the reality is, right, so in the white paper, I was like, okay, well, there are 4 judges, right? And conflict of interest, 2 of them. Of course, one is kind of my boss, right? The other is Lars, Director of Education at IOHK. And I always commented on his videos, hey, thank you for this. This is great, blah, 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 right? Sometimes a little bit more useful comment or question. So he knows who I am. At this point, everybody knows everybody almost, right? So I would even have, so Victor was essentially making it possible that community advisors can be also proposers in the same fund as long as it's in a different challenge, right? And the argumentation was there. But even now, as a community advisor, even if I wasn't a proposer, I know people, right? So I see it's like, oh, this proposal is from Ken. This proposal is from Victor. I'd be biased. So I don't know how much longer I can do the community advising work because I know who you are. This is this is the feasibility piece, right? Because I know you, I know you've done the work. So this plays a huge part in the scoring of the proposals for community advisors. So I guess that's a benefit, but I can also see issues with that. And I'm sure we'll see more issues like that. At least the people who are sticking around Telegram, Discord, all the channels who watch YouTube, who are on discussions like this, the tent needs to grow bigger, right? And I'm sure it will. I mean, we have more than double the proposals now that we had in the previous fund, which is amazing. And I'm sure it'll grow. And at some point, we don't know who everybody is anymore, but right now, it feels like that. It feels like a very tight community in a way. So thank you for the opportunity. And I think what I want to say is, like, if anything sounded interesting to you, please get in contact with us, comment on the idea scale proposals, get in touch with us if you want to work with us. We have a need for designers, UX, UI, etc. But hey, we can always use more Pluto's pioneers. And there's also still the opportunity. 3 out of the 4 people in Gimbal Labs PPBL team are working on win-win. And I had a conversation with James, who, by the way, Victor also has another proposal in with, so they're working together as well. There's opportunity to also get paid. And that is something that I forgot to mention earlier. A lot of the money that we're asking for is essentially to compensate team members' efforts. There are, of course, costs like hosting, the usual stuff, right? Certain tools to upgrade your GitHub organization account, stuff like that. There's a lot of legal expenses that will be paid no matter what, either that be out of my own pocket or that's be community funded. But if you look at the budget, I want this to be a place where people can dedicate their full time to it and become the professional if they choose to. And that's also the reason why we grew a fairly large team, because for the past 8 years, I've almost exclusively worked with startups of very small size. So Citicentric, for example, is where I worked with Eli and DB. That's a whole engineering team, us three. At MediaHound, where we built award-winning recommendation engines, we were a team of 8 by the end. No, even less than that, right? And I was the only one working on the recommendation side of things. So I'm used to building like real software that has heavy use with small teams. But I want this to grow bigger. We're gonna have. That's also why we have 2 project/product managers on this. It's not just for redundancy's sake, understanding that people have lives, other things to do, but it's like we will grow so big. We have all of these other things that are adjacent to a win-win, but then we also have the other part where we want to empower other developers, not just developers, people who want to build on Cardano, to build the tools that we can use for ourselves, for our products and services, but also for other people. So essentially we need everyone. And I'll leave Victor to figure that piece out. Then you're like, okay, here are 200 people. They all want to work on all different projects, figure this out. That's going to be a nice problem to have.
Well, I see Victor does a great job of listening, so he's got my vote as a mediator and arbitrator. But there's 2 major points I realized I got to cover. One, the last question of the day for me is if your team is all the mediators and the arbitrators, who's going to mediate the mediator?
There's great question. So there is co-mediation. It's a wonderful tool, right?
Okay, and that's what we have to learn, that those are options, right? And right now on the screen, scrolling across at the end, it says scam alert. I just caught that flagged in my eye and my attention. I'm like, if anyone's watching this and is like blah 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 scam alert, like, is that no? I mean, let's do one last little show on screen. That's the name of a proposal in Fund 6. It's not a flag that everything we're talking about is an alert that it's a scam. So, but this one is your solo venture. So I wanted to clarify that real quick, that you're looking at a great opportunity or a way to make a scam alert for our space with the lobster on the screen and everything. So fantastic to see that. I just wanted to clear that up for the scroll.
Yeah, thank you for clearing that up. So I'm also a Cardano ambassador, right? So I'm a community elected moderator on the Cardano Stack Exchange, and that led me into being part of the Cardano Foundation's ambassador program.
Oh, great.
So we have a Slack channel there, or Slack server, and there's a channel, that's solely dedicated to scams, right?
Okay.
So the idea was there that, okay, well, this is getting out of hand, and I linked Charles Hoskinson's video. He has since then and before created multiple other videos, like all of the scams, right? So, and this has nothing to do with blockchain. It's a very simple project, traditional web stack, essentially, to identify, let's get all of the scams. We're good at capturing those scams early on, right? Essentially have a database that we can add to, and then create APIs, browser extensions, etc., that people can utilize to, hopefully be not falling for scams, right? So right now, I'm the only one on the proposal there, but it's going to be something that it's a perfect project for some of our more junior developers to take ownership, and both Eli and myself and other more senior developers have a little bit more of a mentoring role there, and make sure and code reviews everything checks out, have those discussions to also elevate people's development skills, because it's one thing that we also do on a daily basis, either as instructors or in our work as senior software engineers and mentors. So
Okay.
it's a rather simple project.
Yeah. Matthias, I'm going to have you type into the comments, because we have one comment that came in. I want to practice before I put the real comment question out. But Nana says, thanks for the opportunity. You're absolutely welcome. Thank you for your skills. Thank you for bringing it and reaching out to Matthias and joining that team. Unless he reached out to you, I don't know how that worked, but you're absolutely welcome. Now we have a viewer that I don't know who this is, but Julie's asking, where can we sign up on the platform? So Matthias, if you would just type in a link to wherever anyone can sign up, so that way it stays in perpetuity in the live chat for when people jump in. And then Victor, if you have anything you want to wrap up while he's typing that out, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I think what I would like to say is to actually incentivize anyone who wants to join any project in Catalyst, because all the projects I see, everyone is very open for cooperation. If you have an idea, I think the teams are being set up, are being assembled during these days, and there are many bridges between different projects, different people that know each other, and they try their best to not to overlap what they are doing, but to really cooperate and reach to more people and create a higher impact. So if you are listening here and you have an idea, or you liked an idea that you've seen around this ecosystem, you can easily get in touch with the team, whoever had the idea, whoever is executing the idea. Just get involved, because this is an amazing ecosystem.
That's awesome, Victor. Thank you. So that is good to have everyone. That's a really good point too. And I'm a co-proposer out on a different one, and that's kind of how we're working it too. So it sounds to me like if somebody jumps in and say, "Hey, I really want to help out. I think my value is this." That's part of that conversation. It's not, "Hey, what can you give me from what you're asking?" We still have another week, I think, and then there's a silent week, and then we lock in the actual proposal. I think there's like 2 more weeks until this is done. So if somebody from a mega, Fortune 2 company shows up and says, "Matthias, I want to help you out. I'm worth this," put it out there. Or if whoever, like, it's kind of that fun one. So Matthias did answer back and says, "Hello, Julie. Great question. For now, please follow either the GitHub repo or Idea Scale Proposal to get updated on when and where." So hopefully that helps you out, and anyone else that wants to wonder and answer that question later. Matthias?
Yeah, I answered with a non-answer. So I also took some political science classes. Yeah, so it's not winwin.com. It's not ours. That is gone. So WinWin is also the project name, right? So this is going to be known as the Catalyst proposal. What we're going to launch with, we don't know. In terms of when you can sign up, right? So if you're a practicing mediator, definitely get in touch with me, right? Because we need more users as well. On that side, we will get quite a bit of users just through my association with the university where I'm graduated from, and I'm in close contact with the director of the program. So as a mediator, you can sign up earlier. If you are an executive, for example, for an ADR program, whether that be in the university or it's going to be part of a city, for example, anything like that, also please reach out to me, because we might find early on that your needs vary a little bit in certifying mediators, right? So we would like to know that sooner than later as well. Now, on the side of if you are currently in need of mediation, unfortunately, that will take a little bit longer. So we are really trying to get the supply side first, narrowed, like not perfect, but workable. That if you need a mediation within 1 week, you will have a mediation within 1 week. That is the guarantee that I would like to be able to provide, but for that, I just need the mediators. yeah, Victor, when are we launching?
I think we hope to have our first MVP available in the mainnet by Q1 2022. That's our goal, and that's what we're trying to achieve with our partnerships with Gimba Labs, people learning from Pluto's pioneers. So I think this is a realistic goal for us, but I would advise anyone who's interested in follow us in IDScale and GitHub and other platforms as well to be updated constantly about the project.
Yeah, so I'll say December instead of Q1, but probably somewhere there. There are still some parts, and not to burst anyone's bubble, but September 13, right? Part of me, the selfish part of me, hopes the price is gonna crash because people realize, yeah, you can do smart contracts, but the Plutus application backend is not like fully fleshed out. You know, stuff that Charles Hoskinson talks about. Everyone who knows, who actually works with Plutus right now, a lot of things are still changing. So people will maybe realize, yeah, this is still somewhat painful. It's possible, but it's painful. So maybe the naysayers again, it's like, oh yeah, this is not going to work, right? So maybe we can, for me, it would be great. Like
it's opportunity.
10% of its current price. Like this phase for me is not great. Either dump all the way or 10x from here. Right now we're in this weird phase. But yeah, so even with those, you know, understanding that in September we will not be able to launch on mainnet. So maybe December, maybe Q1, we'll see. But I think with the team that we have assembled, and we're in talks with some other people, and as funding comes in and people can dedicate more of their time to it.
Well, and it sounds so kind of a neat opportunity, maybe. And I'm reading that how you did with Julia as well, which is sign up for the platform. Is that as a need or?
Can you infer what he was saying? Signing up for the platform, whether that be a need? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, not really. We'll have to wait and see.
All right. Don't make assumptions. One of the big lessons in life.
Yeah.
I think it still says live, so let's say. Welcome back.
Yes, there we are.
Welcome to the
and
experiment.
The fun one is yes. And this is really fun because I think that's Len who says great job, and the whole time we're crashing that was there. Like, great job, guys. Thanks. I think that's Len. If that's you, we all have different handles on different social medias. But thanks for hanging out with us. So just to wrap up or think through that, if it broke out too soon, but if I have the caveats, ready? This, what you just said and what we've been talking about, none of this is financial advice. This is all just speculation from a bunch of dudes that are on the camera and teams that have proposals and everything. Just having fun with tokens, digital assets, if you will. Now, on the other side of it, we're breaching into the legal sector and talking about the legal side. So at this point, I don't feel like we talked any legal advice at all whatsoever. We didn't talk tax advice. We're just a bunch of people trying to hang out and talk and figure out some ideas and thoughts. So there's our caveat. Hopefully that passes the bar. I think the people here know. You guys can say, yeah, that wasn't enough or whatever. But if I find myself in a legal situation right now, whether it's tax or whether it's needing mediation, understanding arbitration and getting to that, you could be at this point, you or your team could be that, hey, I know some people now who know legalese, who know cryptocurrency, and whether it's on your platform or not, maybe that's an experiment for you to help build your platform. They're like, hey, I know I just totally promised my marketer a bunch of money and he said no, he doesn't want that, but I need to pay him. I need somebody to help us find that win-win situation. I don't know if that's going to happen that way, but maybe.
Yeah, that case that you just described, I think that would be an interesting case for mediation. Definitely, yeah. It's a possibility.
All right, gentlemen, I do appreciate it. I'm going to go play with my kids and brag on them and make them watch this restream so we get extra views. I'm going to tell my daughter to play it on her phone, so she has to. No, this isn't about views as much as it is getting a good, clear understanding about this. When we talk feasibility, when we talk auditability and accountability, more than explained it all to me that you guys have that vision, you have the path, and you have it all set up. So bravo, absolutely. You found a hole, you found the team, and you're building the tool to serve the how. So bravo to you. I appreciate both your time.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Hope we can do one of these again in the future.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ken, for the space here.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to end the stream. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.